Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're ready for something huge because what we're about to dive into today could completely shift how you view XRP. Now, if you've been in the crypto space for any amount of time, you've probably heard of Ripple and its native cryptocurrency, XRP. Over the years, XRP has gained its fair share of both diehard supporters and fierce critics. But recently, something very interesting has been happening. Ripple whales are quietly loading up on XRP at an astonishing rate. Music. You may be wondering, why would these huge players who already control large amounts of XRP continue to accumulate more? Well, stick with me, because the answer isn't what you think. First things first, let's talk about the data, the numbers that no one can ignore. Recent data from Santi and XRP Scan has shown a massive uptick in the accumulation of XRP by whale addresses. If you aren't familiar, whale addresses are those that hold significant amounts of XRP, anything from 10 million to 100 million tokens. These are not your average retail traders. We're talking about deep-pocketed investors who have the power to influence market sentiment just by the moves they make. So why are these whales scooping up more XRP? Now the answer is a lot more strategic than just price speculation. The thing about whales is they're rarely acting on emotion. They don't get caught up in the opium that often clouds the judgment of retail traders. Instead, they're making moves based on something bigger, something more calculated. And the data suggests that Ripple is preparing for a major shift. There's a clear pattern here. The whales are accumulating at a time when most of the retail market is uncertain, which tells us one important thing. These whales are getting ahead of the curve. They know something we don't. They're positioning themselves for an inevitable event that's going to change the game for XRP and potentially the entire cryptocurrency space. But what is this game-changing event? Well, one of the major factors at play is Ripple's involvement in central bank digital currencies, or CBDCs. Ripple has been making major moves behind the scenes, forging strategic partnerships with governments around the world. These partnerships are no longer rumors. They're confirmed pilots in places like Palau, Colombia, and Bhutan. These countries are actively testing Ripple's technology to help them build their own digital currencies. And honestly, when governments are involved, the potential for growth is on an entirely different level. Music. Let's break this down. Ripple is no longer just about peer-to-peer payments for individuals. Ripple is becoming the backbone of a new global financial system. These government partnerships are incredibly significant because they position XRP as more than just a cryptocurrency. They position XRP as the foundation for entire national economies to build their digital currencies upon. When you think about it, this is massive. It's not just retail traders and speculators who will be using XRP. Ripple's technology is now embedded in the financial infrastructure of countries. And as more nations begin to realize the value of Ripple's technology, the demand for XRP will skyrocket. Now let's talk about the elephant in the room, the infamous $589 price target for XRP. If you've been around the XRP community for any length of time, you've probably heard about this number. Some people dismiss it as wishful thinking, while others believe it's a solid price target based on Ripple's real-world use case and adoption. The thing about the $589 target is that it's not just a random price prediction thrown out by a few enthusiasts. It actually has some very interesting backing behind it, particularly from an anonymous figure known as Bearable Guy 123 Music. Now, if you haven't heard of Bearable Guy 123, he's someone who's been involved in the Ripple community for quite a while, posting cryptic messages and predictions that have over time been surprisingly accurate. Bearable Guy 123 has been vocal about XRP reaching the price of $589. Now, I know what you're probably thinking. $589 for XRP, that sounds too good to be true. But here's the thing. When you start looking at XRP's potential, especially in the context of its growing adoption by governments and institutions, a price target of $589 doesn't sound so impossible. After all, think about it. If XRP becomes a central component of the global financial system, helping countries launch their own CBDCs and settle cross-border payments, the price will need to reflect that demand. And this isn't just a hopeful prediction. This is a price target that aligns with the potential utility of XRP as a foundational asset in global finance. When you think about it, a price of $589 for XRP might sound insane to some, but for the whales and institutional players that are watching this closely, it's actually a calculated target based on real-world use cases. Institutions aren't just looking at the price, They're looking at the long-term utility of XRP in the global econo. XRP is not just another crypto project, it's a payment solution that has the potential to fundamentally change how money moves around the world. And that's why the whales are betting big on XRP. They're positioning themselves for a future where XRP is worth much more than it is today. So now that we've covered the whale accumulation and the 589 theory, let's talk about the bigger picture. What's actually driving this? It's all about institutional adoption. Ripple has been strategically positioning itself as the go-to solution for cross-border payments, and the latest data suggests that Ripple's technology is gaining traction at an institutional level. Ripple's partnerships with companies like MoneyGram and its continued discussions with central banks are a clear indication that the financial industry is starting to take Ripple seriously. And when big players like that get involved, it's only a matter of time before the price of XRP begins to reflect that. Let's not forget about the fact that Ripple's network is rapidly scaling. Ripple's ability to process transactions quickly and cheaply is a major advantage over traditional financial systems. XRP is designed to facilitate fast and low-cost cross-border payments, and that's a huge value proposition for institutions that deal with global transactions. As Ripple continues to expand its reach and its partnerships, the demand for XRP will increase, driving the price up. The truth is what we're seeing right now with XRP is not some speculative bubble. This is the beginning of something far bigger. Ripple is positioning itself to be a major player in the financial world, and the whales are taking note. The accumulation we're seeing right now is not some random trend. It's a calculated move by smart money, anticipating the massive growth that Ripple is about to experience as it becomes a central player in the future of digital currency and finance. And let me tell you, this isn't just about the whales. As Ripple's technology continues to gain traction with governments and financial institutions, more and more investors will begin to realize what's happening. Retail investors may be slow to catch on, but the institutional money is already flowing in. As more institutions adopt Ripple's technology and the demand for XRP increases, the price of XRP will naturally follow. We're not talking about a short-term pump here. We're talking about a fundamental shift in how digital currencies are used in the global economy. To wrap things up, the accumulation we're seeing from Ripple whales is not just a short-term play. It's a strategic move based on real-world utility and adoption. Ripple's partnerships with governments and financial institutions are paving the way for XRP to become a cornerstone of the global financial system and the 589 price target. It's not a pipe dream. It's a reflection of the potential value that XRP could unlock as it becomes embedded in the fabric of global finance. So if you're still on the fence about XRP, it's time to take a hard look at what's happening. The whales are already positioning themselves for massive gains, and it's only a matter of time before the rest of the market catches up. Will you be ready for the ride? Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below. Are you bullish on XRP? Do you think 589 is a realistic target? I'd love to hear from you. And if you found this video valuable, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on future updates. We've got a lot more to cover, and trust me, you won't want to miss what's coming next. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Disclaimer, this video is for educational informational purposes only. It is not financial advice. Please do your own research and consult with a financial advisor before making any investment decisions.